you're ready, Mr. Schwartman, just go for it.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of Inside the Music with Andy Schwartman. Andrew, with our special guest, Andrew Newbold.
When we wrapped up part 1, Mr. Newbold, you were getting ready to tell us about Hara Arena and experiences you had playing in a band when you were younger. And you mentioned meeting Van Halen.
Yeah, I actually one of the first real band that I ever kind of got to play out in that was fairly popular was a conglomeration of kids from 3 different high schools, some kids from Centerville, some kids from Fairmont West, and myself. And we kind of modeled ourselves after Van Halen. We thought they were just the coolest thing in the world and had the most badass songs. So we really just wanted to be Van Halen more than we were able to. So when Van Halen came to Hara Arena, I think it was 82 or 83. It was in the summertime. School had just ended. My bandmates and I went down to the hotel in Dayton where we knew they were staying. And we were milling around the hotel, and there wasn't anybody there. And some long-haired guy came out who looked kind of rock and roll-y, not official, but rock and roll-y. And he came up to us and said, what are you guys doing? And we said, we figured Van Halen was staying here, wanted to see if we could meet him. The guy turned out to be Neil Zlozauer, who was a pretty famous photographer for Cream magazine, Circus magazine.
Yeah, of course.
He was on tour with him, and he was basically out on the street trying to scour some recreational stuff for Van Halen if he could.
Okay,
so
I got you.
He asked us if we could go find him anything, and sure enough, I knew where to find something, but I didn't have enough money because I spent all my money on the Van Halen ticket for that night. Plus, I wanted to have some beer. So I went to my friend who had said recreationals and said, hey, give me what you have. Van Halen wants it. He was like, sure, dude, right. Like, I'm going to give you all this stuff. Ended up denying me, went back down to the hotel and had to, sorry, we couldn't get it. Wouldn't front it to us, whatever. So he told us to come back after the show. Mm-hmm. Boys will be hanging out if you want to meet him. And we said, absolutely. So after the show, we piled in a car, went back down to the hotel in downtown Dayton. And the first thing we saw was David Lee Roth get out of his limousine with half dozen or a dozen women stumbling out of his limousine.
Wow.
Wouldn't even make eye contact with us, just went to the elevator and up, and he was gone.
Oh, wow.
The next limo rolls up, and it's Eddie, Alex, and Michael. And they're as laid back as can be, and we see them and say hi. They walk in and pretty much go right to the grog shop, which was the bar in the hotel. So we just followed them in. We all had fake IDs, even though we were in 11th grade. We all had fake IDs so we could go into the bar.
Yeah.
There's nobody in the bar. There's the bartender, the 3 guys from Van Halen, one of their road crew, and me and 3 of my teenage bandmates.
Nice.
So we're trying to be cool about it, but obviously geeked and fanboying out a little bit.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We tried to start out a little slow with our conversations with them, and then they realized there's no one else here. They're not going to get an onslaught of groupies. People aren't going to flood in. So they started warming up and just talking to us. So we basically sat in the bar and talked to them for about an hour, hour and a half until they shut the bar down. They were so cool and so accommodating. And it really opened my eyes to the way of rock and roll, and it helped me make a decision very on as a young man that that's really not what I want to do. As much as I thought that's what I wanted to be, after talking to them, in a nutshell, they basically said, so you think it's all this glamour and glitz and everything like Dave was doing? Well, it's not. What are we doing? It's Saturday night, and we're sitting in a hotel bar in downtown Dayton with 4 high school guys.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to most of the time, dude. It's not this big glitzy, glamorous world. We got to get up and do this again and again and again. And they were very honest and brutal with us and just kind of didn't break us down. We still wanted to be in a band and rock out, but we realized, okay, there's more to it than that. They talked to us about songwriting credits and who makes the money in bands and all that stuff. They gave us a lot of great working information.
That is awesome.
Couldn't have been nicer. It was actually one of the cooler meetings I've ever had with someone that I look up to and respect ever. They were so nice.
The night that we were, Rick and our friend Tony Kiefer and myself were at the Alice Cooper show that was like 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a copy of the album Paranormal, which is the album that Alice was touring behind at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I had it in my. I have a pair of jean shorts, and I had the album in and it has pockets, and I had it in one of the pockets. Well, Rick is like elbowing me, going, "Get your CD out, dude! Get your CD out!" Because one of Alice's assistants was outside, and he's like, "Get your CD out!" And so the next thing you know, long story short, he took my CD and he took it into Alice, I guess. And the next thing I know, Alice signed my CD for me.
Yeah, that day was really so cool because we failed to meet the man himself, but we got to say hi and take Andy's picture with everybody in his band. They were all great.
Yeah.
And Alice's personal assistant, he gathered up the stuff that everybody had with him, CDs and 45s. I got a 45 signed, and he took it back and had Alice sign the stuff and brought it all right back out. So we didn't get to meet Alice, but
No,
we met
but I'm
his
sure
whole
he's a
band
nice guy.
and came away with an
regardless.
autograph. It was really spectacular. Andy,
Yeah.
why don't we wrap up? Why don't we quickly wrap up part 2, and then when we come back, I want you guys to just talk about some of your favorite concert experiences.
Okay. Thank you everybody for watching part 2. Now, on to part 3, I guess. So stay tuned for part 3.
Mr. Newbold, thanks for being with us.
Sure, my pleasure.